I was listening to Clay Johnson's book, listening to Clay Johnson talk about his book, which I like, by the way, and highly endorse, but he said some things that weren't true. I love broccoli, first of all. I'm very pro-broccoli. I think he painted us all with a broad brush about his health issues. Just because you choose the pizza doesn't mean some of us don't have some discipline. And I hate the weatherman. I think the weatherman is full of it. I think the weatherman is full of shit. I think he's wrong all the time. And he's not the most trusted news source in my life. Wrong every day, pretty much. Every day, no accountability. Never heard of a weatherman getting fired for being wrong. So I think we should bring some accountability to that industry. I want to talk about, well, you'll see. Who I am, for those who don't know, I've been doing stand-up comedy for a long time, about a decade. Started off in Boston, now been in New York for about 5 years, having a good time doing that. I helped found this political blog called Jack and Jill Politics. It's a black political blog, and of course the watermelon is there to symbolize intelligence and care for your media diet. If you see any other kind of connection or correlation, then you have a problem. And I hope you look into that. I really do. I think we should be beyond that, people. I hosted a show about the future on Popular Science's Future Of was the name of it. It was on Discovery Science Channel. In the future, all black people will be required to wear wetsuits. I got mine early. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. Snug fit. And most significantly, for the past several years, I've been director of digital for America's finest news source, the number one source in all of your information diets, by the way. And it's been great, and I've had a hand in determining how we use new media tools and digital possibilities to expand and shift the way we tell stories and engage with our people. But mostly, I have been all the black people in the photos at the Onion. I've been the president, I've been his cousin, Cooter Obama, I've been the mayor of Detroit, I've been all three Supremes. It's amazing. They should pay me a lot more for these 50 jobs that I have. I also have written this book called How to Be Black. Ooh. That's a terrible idea. So the marketing has been great. It's a very simple message. If you don't buy the book, you're a racist. That was my strategy. Eric talked about science, numbers, testing things. I just accuse you of being a racist. And it works. We're a New York Times bestseller. It was very effective. In our first week, we hit the list. So, and by we, I mean all black people. You're like, who's the we? I co-authored it with all of black people. So I want to tell you a little story about how the book was born. It's very relevant to tools and change and the combination of those things, which we are gathered here to discuss and learn about. It started with a hashtag. It started on Twitter, and here's what happened. I went to buy some wine. I don't understand wine and how you're supposed to buy it. It's supposed to smell a certain way and remind you of a certain thing and make you cry or taste like wood. I don't get all that. And most importantly, I wasn't interested in learning. So I went to this shop. There was a person I could have asked. No. I was very racialist in my approach, and I saw a bottle of wine that had the word Negro Amaro on it. And I was like, oh, that's black wine. That's for me. I'm going to buy that. And then I tweeted about this to my friend Elon James White and challenged him with this hashtag, how black are you? I bought wine because it had the word Negro in it. What did you do that was black today, And so he said, I see the subtle racial implications of Thundercats. Panthro is black and shirtless, and Lionel's driver. How black are you? Really excellent point. So we're volleying back and forth, and a lot of people jumped in. And I talked about this at Web 2.0, another O'Reilly conference a few years ago. And in the audience was someone from HarperCollins, a woman named Debbie Steer who worked there at the time. And not just because of that, but I think significantly because of that talk. She's like, hey, come in, let's talk. Maybe you should do a book. And she helped put out Gary Vee's book and a bunch of other people, Savvy Auntie. And so we went in and we came out with this idea. We're going to do this book called How to Be Black. And it was going to initially be just a pile of satire. How to be the black friend, how to speak for all black people, how to be the next black president. But along the way, the product shifted. And I also had an email list that I wrote to, and I made sure to always include a true story in the emails because people are all over the country, sometimes the world. They can't make it to shows. I don't want to just market at them like, hey, give them some compelling content. And I was writing these stories with no mind toward these stories being in the book. And Debbie wrote me and says, this stuff has to be in the book. And so I shifted and it became much more of a memoir. So let me talk a little bit about what's inside of this book. It is a personal story. It's a story of this guy, my great-grandfather, Benjamin Lonesome, born a slave, taught himself to read, moved to D.C., worked for the government, had 2 daughters, one of whom was my maternal grandmother, Lorraine Martin, who I only found out after my own mother passed. Lorraine Martin was the first black employee at the U.S. Supreme Court building. So we've gone from someone teaching himself to read to his daughter working in one of the premier offices of a significant branch of government. And then she had this adorable daughter, my mother, Arnita Thurston. You can see where I get my cuteness from. It's a direct line from her. And she was sent off to this boarding school in rural Pennsylvania. She was kind of playing the part of the modern Negro appropriate woman. She has a dress below the knees. She's carrying a basket, probably full of happy, safe, conformist thoughts about America. But then her social network changed. And she started hanging out with dudes that looked like this. This man's name is El Dorado, like the car. Some of you think you're cool. You're not. He was the last cool dude to ever live. This was him. Cool is done. Wrap it up. Close the tag. And then she started investing in and being a part of these types of people, civil rights movement, marching down the street. This is an African Liberation Day parade, and there is my mom right in the middle. So that is the household that I grew up in. That's the line that I came from. And most kids inside of a household, you get a book like See Spot Run. I didn't get that book. I got This Is Apartheid when I was like 8. That's some heavy reading for a little kid. It's like, and then this bad thing happened. It affects your mindset. Outside of the house, this was the common activity, right? This is a very Wire-like scene shot out of our front window. A lot of drug dealing going on. My mom sought to document this for reasons I never quite understood. She wasn't an informant for the cops. She just liked to use her telephoto lens and shoot all this activity going on. So that was out the front door. But I also had access to some really great educational opportunities. Went to Sidwell Friend School, graduated from Harvard. Here's that moment of commencement from university. Really beautiful shot that my sister grabbed. And so that is the heart of this book. But there is the how-to. There is the how to speak for all black people, how to be the black friend, which is very important because black friends prevent race wars every day by telling their white friends not to say the N-word. You know, it's very important insights like that. How to be the next black president. Generally don't talk about black people. And I interviewed people. I knew this topic was ridiculous to begin with. I like ridiculous. I work at The Onion. It's where it's my comfort zone, is the ridiculous. But I wanted to, bring in a few other voices as well. And so I created this panel of experts in blackness. They've been doing it most of their lives. And I had 3 women to balance it out. I had Damali Ayo, who is a performance artist, Cheryl Conti, who works at Fission Strategy, co-founded Fission Strategy and is a co-founder of Jack and Jill Politics, Jaquetta Zatmari, who has a one-woman show called That's Funny, You Didn't Sound Black on the Phone. And then I wanted to balance that with dudes, right? This is all building like a community inside the book already, not waiting. Like these people are also kind of advocates and representatives of what we're trying to go for with this whole How to Be Black thing. And so we had W. Kamau Bell, who has a one-man show, is a great comedian in the Bay Area, Elon James of Panthro fame from earlier today in the slides, and Derek Ashong, who was my representative of the diaspora. Derek was born in Ghana and raised in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and New Jersey. He's very black. And then I had one white man because I wanted a control group, and I lied. I am a scientist. I took a few notes out of the Lean Startup. It's like, we gotta have a control group. And I got the whitest dude I could find, who was Christian Lander, who created Stuff White People Like. And so he was wonderful. And here's what the point was. I wanted to ask them significant questions. When did you first realize you were black? For Christian, I asked him about when he first realized he was white. I'm not going to make him answer all the black questions. That'd be weird. How black are you? Playing off of that Twitter game. Have you ever wanted to not be black? Ever just get tired of it? Ever get tired of answering the questions or living the life? Can you swim? Very significant, deep, probing questions. I'm a journalist. All right. How's that post-racial thing working out for you? I wanted to know, and I was an inquiring mind, and so I inquired, and what do you wish for the future of black people and race in America generally? And I got beautiful answers, funny answers, smart answers, controversial answers from time to time, and I shot this. So as the book is being written, I'm using the hashtag. People know this book is coming. I'm checking in on Forest Grade Life. I'm interviewing Elon over here at his studio. I'm interviewing Damali in L.A. at her apartment. And these questions are, bubbling up. And I didn't just transcribe them. I had audio. I had a very expensive recording rig, which consisted of one iPhone 4 and one Flip Minnow HD, plus a Zoom audio recorder to have a center audio channel. And this is what we started to do with some of that video. Oh, there should be sound. Thanks.
So I came home and I remember I couldn't really move past the entrance of the house. And I needed to talk about the fact that this little girl said that I was black and that I, in fact, found myself to be beige.
I was playing doctor with a bunch of kids, and this one girl, it was her turn to kiss me, and she didn't, and she sort of ran away laughing, and the other kids ran away laughing, and the thing I realized at that point that I was black and they were all white, because this was a small private school in Boston, and that was the first time I remember feeling like black was somehow separate from the norm. I think I knew I was black before then, because as I say in my show, my mom would not have let me not know I was black. There would have been no way that she would have let that information slip. It's cold outside, take a jacket, and you're black.
I was born in Africa, so everybody's black. So we don't really think about it like that. I mean, here you go like, so is he black? Is he white? Is he black? Is he black? Black? In Africa, you don't ask. The assumption is that you're black. Therefore, what becomes more important is other things. What your name is, where do you come from, what language do you speak, what's your culture, what's your tribe, etc. So I know I was black. When I was 8, I moved to the Middle East. I think the Middle East is the first time I discovered I was black. Because people would come up to you and they'd be like, yes.
And what does that translate to?
That means, this is a black guy.
I grew up in East Chinatown in Toronto, so it was made very clear that I was Guaylo from a very early...
Guaylo being...
white ghost. Sort of, I know every derogatory term for a white person in Chinese.
All right, so let me get a little bit into the writing process, which again, the whole point of this was that this is how to be black as a party, right? And everybody's invited. And so even as I was writing the book, I developed what I call an open writer's room. It wasn't a shared writing process in the sense that other people were helping write, but they could bear more direct witness to it. So I posted chapters online. Somebody got very upset with one of the things I posted and said, this book is clearly not written for black folks. It's too wordy and there's no pictures. Which I had a hard time understanding because she didn't use any pictures. This other dude says, this book is solely based on ignorance. Martin Luther King Jr. would be ashamed if he read this. Good job on setting us back 50 years, dick. So not only does he have a direct channel to the ghost of Martin Luther King Jr., but he called me a dick. And he spells solely extra blackly. So I had to take his comments seriously. I was like, maybe he knows more. Maybe he should be writing this book. I'm a poser. Ashamed of myself. My friend Anand Girdardas, he's a writer. He said you should share your screen while you're writing. Let people watch you write. So I use this service, join.me, called it live writing. Hadn't seen it before. Thought I'd play along with it. And this is what some people saw from their computer screens, a little billboard on the left. And got some comments. This is what the internet's all about. Gives me a connection with the author. How self-obsessed does one have to be to set something like this up? Very self-obsessed. Love myself. People obsessed with typos while I'm writing my book. People likening this to watching cartoonists work. People wanting to buy the book. Good, it's working. People wanting to tweet and thus freely advertise the book. Good, it's working. Hashtag is already prompted. Other writers were very interested because you rarely see someone else actually write. You see what they have written, but it's always after the fact. This was real time. Somebody thinks I shouldn't be able to use semicolons, which I feel like we're beyond that. We're in an America where everybody should have the opportunity and the freedom to use semicolons. I'm pretty sure Martin Luther King Jr. would agree with me, and this person's a dick. And then my absolute favorite comment, my girlfriend is Chinese, I'm half Jamaican, half regular black. I think our kids might end up Dominican or something, which is an astute demographic observation about the future of race in America. We're all going to be Dominican. It's going to be great. And then we're going to have Diet Black and Black Zero. It's going to be pretty awesome, tasty future. So let me just hit these last notes. I'm going over my time. I'm sorry for disrespecting that for those who are trying to keep to the schedule. But the book was written in that way. You can kind of see what the spirit of it is. It's comedic. It's investigative. It tries to dance across that line, and I wanted to bring folks with me, including inside the very pages. One of the chapters of my book was called Going Back to Africa. I was writing that chapter openly, and someone said, you should change it to Going Black to Africa. I'm like, yes, I should. More black, the better. So I did. So some anonymous chat person affected the actual title of the book. That's the open help. But we built a street team. We used Seth Godin's model to some degree and built a virtual street team of people who we gave a PDF of the book to very early. They got to read it. They got to own it. They got to feel what part of them could connect to this. I wanted this to not just be, oh, I like you and the idea of this book, and I'll just retweet what you say. No, you put it in your own words. You own it and sell to your community, whether that's your family. First assignment we gave them, read the book, go home over Thanksgiving, and talk about it at Thanksgiving dinner with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, and then report back to the Facebook group we had set up just for the team. So they could hear, oh, my grandfather thought it was ridiculous and a terrible idea. My mother thought this was a really interesting thing. So we got a little early test, to Eric's point about the reaction. I've just been calling everybody I know and telling them to buy the book. It's basic, but a lot of times I haven't done that in the past, and a lot of people don't. Everyone I know, you're going to get an email. We made these cards. This is ridiculous. It's called the Black Card. And here's what it gets you. It gets you 24/7 access to the White House, so long as there's a black president. It gets you a victory in any racial argument, so long as you slam the card down physically on the table. And you get designated as an official friend to black people. We only made 500 of these, and so we're handing them out at our book events, and we're shipping them out to people in a black envelope with a black stamp. We're doing these live events where people can feed into the Tumblr that we set up to share their own stories. You don't have to buy the book, but I want to know what your experience of identity is. The book is really about how to be, not just how to be black, and black is sort of my variable, but we all have our own, so let's get that going. And we made 2 versions of the book. To Eric's point about covers, this screams across the room. You look really weird holding it on the subway. And there's a black and a white version. We have racial profiling algorithms. So when you order from an online retailer, you get the one you need most. And if you insist on getting a different color, that's cool. Just keep ordering until you get the one you think you want. So it builds that multiple purchase thing. And then this website we've set up for people to share their own versions of their story. Every day during February and beyond, we'll be asking, some question about identity. When did you first realize you were black? Can you swim? How black are you? Today's question, have you ever been asked to speak on behalf of all your people? Whether it's gay people, women, black people, dudes, whatever. Like, when have you been forced to be an ambassador against your will? So that's That's the basic thing. I'd want a few things. I want to be able to sync audio and ebooks. So if you guys can fix that, that'd be wonderful. I want better author channels. Like all these people buy the book, I have no way to find them. You try to put something in the flap, come to my website. When you buy a book online, there should be an option. Do you want to hear from this author? Opt in. That's it. And then boom, you can find out other stuff that's going on. Now I have to stalk people on Twitter and Facebook. Hey, it looks like you're reading my book. It's like Microsoft Bob or something, and it's weird. Do you want to check out my online extension content? That's just creepy, And kill more trees, print more books. We ran out of books, which is great to hit that list, but then it had some supply chain issues. So I'm so sorry about the time thing. Thank you guys very much. Thank you all very much. Stay black-er. Stay black-er.